This morning over breakfast, Karen told me today is going to be a very short day. She has a lot of things to do today, and I will find something to fill in the time, but I don't think this is going to be the most productive day of the year. But anyway, the reason I was trying to make a point is that I try to get something done every day or almost every day, even if it's small things. Now, yesterday we got the first coat of black on the tank. It might be appropriate, if let's see how the weather's going to play out, if it gets up above freezing. I wanted to get a second coat on. I wanted to wet sand that first coat because I want that base coat to be just killer. And black, I was watching Ammo NYC and they did a Porsche with 5 coats of black, each one block sanded in between. And of course, the depth when you do that is unbelievable. The paint, the look, I don't know what it, who cares? It just looks awesome. And because the tank is a defining top thing, we're going to have those big gold Kawasaki decals from Thomas Luciano. I just think, I really don't want to compromise this at all. So that unless Karen tells me we don't have enough time to do that, and we'll have to discuss that over coffee. Right now I got to flip battery tenders, rub some noses, rub my own nose, and get inside and have some coffee. It's still below freezing out here. Now another thing on our upcoming list is I want to get out here with the steam cleaner and the rag with the stick and get in all those nooks and crannies, because very soon, I'm guessing within a week, maybe a little bit more or less, we're going to be starting to assemble the bike, and I don't want to have anything in there that the next time I have to take it apart, it's not going to be as much fun as possible. It's pretty clean now. Yeah, for a bike with 20, I don't know, I gotta look at this, I think 26,000. I just want it to be as nice as I can make it. And also when I look at the weather, last night late, I always check the weather. And 2 or 3 days from now, it's supposed to go up into the 40s. I suspect Jose and some of the A team, they'll be wanting to get a ride in. And if they don't, maybe I will. And John Pothier and I have been working a little bit almost every day on working on getting our new Filmora program that we have on a new Acer computer that we use for, I think, upgraded editing. But one of the things, we're trying to convert these old DVDs. Some of them are very easy to convert, and some of them, remember, these are flip videos. This is back in the, when dinosaurs ruled the world. But anyway, we've got some of them, but we're still working on it. And that's coming. Now, to give you an idea of how old these videos are, and I do have Chris on these videos, and I have, Rob was actually riding. So these videos, when we went on a bike, we have 50 bikes on this ride, a big mass ride. The ride was led by Ray and Dwayne. And what happened was, and of course we had some adventures. We had a few guys driving into the ditch, if I remember right. I may even have that on video, but it's just, there's just great nostalgic memories. And I know Chris is looking forward to seeing them, but I've got to work it into the plan, because the number one thing here is summer is coming, and I want to have that restoration sitting out in the driveway with 10 coats of Flitz on it and ready to ride. And I want it today if I could have it, but not happening today. We got to tough it out. And this is so funny when I think back, looking at these old videos, and I've been able to play them. I'm just not able to manipulate them so I can edit them. But here's the funny thing. Back then, I was the only one that had a video camera. There's not a single other person on this ride that had a video camera. It was a big deal to videotape a ride. Now, everybody's got a video camera. And yes, Karen just confirmed it is going to warm up, and we may get something done today. Who knows? You never know. But of course, the main thing is the birds are happy, and we get this mockingbird. He's coming to the, I didn't get him on video. He's coming here every day now. We've nicknamed him Butch. And what I did late last night before going to sleep, I took the gas tank out of the garage, put it under a heating vent. In fact, I put it on top of a little drawer so it would be closer to the heat. And here's what happens with the heating vent. I can put my hand here and I can feel a certain temperature, and I don't want it right up on the thing where it's going to get red hot. I just want it to be warm, just like a warm breeze blowing. But anyway, that paint is nice and hard now. I want to wet sand it, and if the weather holds out or if it's good, I can get another coat of black on it. And I really want that to be the crown jewel of this whole project. Okay, we have some 2000 grit Indasa sandpaper. This is going to be, I'm going to try to do the whole thing by hand, and I'm going to try to really detail. I took the piece out of here. I want to detail the whole part. The objective here is to get a really nice flat base, just perfect without any glitches, or if we sand through in any spot, I'll have to touch it up, but it won't really matter. I'm going to put black on the whole part anyway. Now what I'll do with this last part of black, I'll try to get it on just a really nice wet coat. So it's just, I want to add that depth, and I'm not sure, see, with black is a funny color, and I'm not sure. I know if you put extra clear on top of black, it changes the color just a little bit. It has like a mirror look. I'm not sure how this is going to work out, but we have plenty of time. We're way ahead of schedule as far as getting the bike done for the deadline. The deadline. I think I'm working on Wall Street. There's no deadline when you do what I do. So anyway, I want to just, as I always do, show the first little piece in real time so people understand. It's a very simple thing. There's no downside to this. It's not like a model plane where you're looking to save weight by putting on the minimum amount of paint. If we put a little extra paint on this, oh yeah, that'll be worth doing. Now, you can always just analyze it yourself and say, yeah, you definitely can feel a difference. But now what'll be is when that next coat goes on, you'll definitely see the difference. I will anyway. Now, as always, when you're doing something and you have I was laughing about it before, about having a deadline or something. Well, I don't ever want to work with deadlines anymore. I had enough of that in my work life. So, I don't know how much of an advantage this is going to be, but I know this is going to be the focal point of the motorcycle. And I think any extra time I put on this, and by the way, this tank to me is a really, really nice shape. It blends in with the shape of the motorcycle really nicely. So it's going to be a focal point, and those decal shapes that John Pothier created and Thomas Luciano made the mask. And now if I can spray the gold, that's going to be definitely one of the features that I'll look forward to seeing every time I go out and rub the nose of the bike. There's just no substitute for just having a lot of energy and just going at this like you're at war with the paint. But any little thing that I can do to make this a little nicer, it's got to be done. It's got to be done because I'm going to be looking at this paint job basically for the rest of my life. Now, if you're 20 years old, that might not be true, but it's true for me. Now the last part of this, after I tack rag it and dry it up, I've got to put that cover. I don't want to get any, I've got to put some tape around that. That's worked well. And let's see how the weather plays out. We can get a coat of black on that. Now, good news, bad news. Good news, there's not much wind. Bad news, it's just above freezing. So this is right at the point where I've got to put that paint on in thin coats. You can see I'm almost putting it on like it's an airbrush. Very low pressure, about 20 pounds, and just I want thin coats. Now it's going on in very thin coats, and I've just got to be patient and take my time and not. The downside is I don't want to get a big wet coat on it. It just makes a mess. It's just patience. This will take a lot longer than painting normally, but that last coat should be like an airbrush coat. Should be very nice and smooth. And by the way, that'll be an extra benefit for putting the decals on it. There won't be any, or there'll be very little orange peel. This is just a time-consuming way of doing it, but the result is worth it. And one final thing, I wanted to put a little bit of extra anywhere that there's a sharp edge, so there'd minimize the chance that I would go through on this. Small insurance, because you have a lot of sharp edges on this part. Okay, so we have very thin coats and extra around the edges, and it's all done. It's almost like I actually probably could have used the airbrush to do this, but it's going to be, I think it's going to add a little nicety to the job. So it looks like the rest of this day is going to be taken up by errands and babysitting and robbing banks or whatever. But, ooh, I don't even want to touch it. That is exactly what I wanted. Those airbrush coats, when we go to lay out the Kawasaki word, it'll be flat. I'll just touch it with some 2000 grit paper. That 2000 grit prep, wow. It's a combination of the 2000 grit and that the coats go on. Multiple coats thin, not one big blow it on coat. Now, the downside of doing it this way is if you blow on a wet coat, it'll be shinier. But we don't care about the shine. You know what's going to happen? When I put the Gavco clear on this, it's going to be shiny. So when you never want to concern yourself with how shiny something is before you put the clear on. The clear always makes a piece of sandpaper shiny. Anyway, even though this was a short day, I hope you did enjoy sharing it with us. Share the video, share the fun, share the restorations, and thanks for watching. Now these are some memories of the New Jersey Sport Bike Club from about 9 or 10 years ago. I'm not exactly sure, of course. There's Chris. They always want to be on the video. 9 or 10 years ago. And that's pretty much where I met Chris at this club. If I remember right, Ray was the president of the club. Dwayne was kind of one of the leaders. And Chris was one of the members. There were several women. And this is Ray right here with his wife. And we used to meet at the Airmont Diner. His wife used to take the leaf blower and clean the parking lot area where we met. We several times went to Ray's house to watch videos, the twist of the wrist, and socialize. Ray set up these really great rides for people that needed some people to show them the area. And we always had a lot of fun. I remember this year after year. And this footage that I have is in no special order. It's in just random footage I had that's on about 20 different DVDs. I try to pull off pieces of it. I apologize for the quality of the video. It's really not high quality. Now, this video is so old, you might even notice there isn't a single other person on this ride that has a video camera. I don't think they invented GoPros then. Maybe some people did have. We just never shared the footage because none of us ever went out onto YouTube back then. But anyway, the club was really cool. That's Ray right there, and that's Alex off to the right. That's his Aprilia. Alex was a good friend of Luciano, myself, several of the other people. My son-in-law Rob, who on this particular ride
happens to be riding the bike that we're restoring in these videos. So this had to be about 10 years ago, because this is when he first started learning to ride, which I think was '09, but I'm not sure. So the thing that makes this special to me is there's an awful lot of people in here. I recognize their bikes, I recognize their faces, but we've lost touch over the years because this club basically doesn't meet anymore. I know with Ray, if I remember the story right, Ray bought a gas station, at least this is what I heard from Dwayne, and the people, as Alex is a pillar there, it just didn't gather the steam it did. Ray used to GPS out the rides, have stop points, and the only rules were you had to show up with a full tank of gas and show up ready to ride. They didn't have any requirements for wearing leathers or whatever. I don't remember. It wasn't that kind of a club. There were a lot of different riders of a lot of different skill levels. And the thing I used to do is I had the GS on this ride, if I remember right. The thing I used to do that was a lot of fun, I'd get at the end of the ride, and then because not many people, or maybe nobody, I don't see any GoPro cameras here. What would happen is I would get to the back and then try to get the people at the back end of the ride so they'd be on a video for a minute or so, move up to the next person, and go right up the rank, up to the front, maybe 2 or 3 or 5 people, and then videotape them going through the turns. And so I basically didn't need to have video of myself riding alone. That was the whole purpose of it. And I shot hundreds of hours of video on these rides. Now I have all the video. It's in a stack that Ray returned to me. Ray Straub graciously returned this video. And to me, it's priceless because it's memories of a really wonderful time. I was riding with my son-in-law, Rob. He was riding a bike that was his original bike that we restored this year on this set of videos. And the way this all played out, you couldn't make this up. I got to be real good friends with Chris. We did an awful lot of riding together, up in the Bear Mountain area, and we gathered many times at Perry's and among other places. We've kept in touch for probably 10 years now, I'm just guessing. And you'll probably see her on future videos. She's gone on to become a competent track day rider and a regular among the people that meet at Choppers. And we usually work on each other's bikes from time to time. There's the bike. There's the bike we're restoring right now. That's unbelievable. Unbelievable when you look back at old footage like this. It's just hard to... I don't know the right word to say it. It's hard to get a grip on why it's important to have this footage. But here's people, I recognize them from the club, I recognize the bikes, but probably haven't seen them in 8 or 10 years. And so this is always the unusual thing is if you look here close, I remember this gal, she was in one of the regulars. Now what I'm going to try to do in the future, I have many hours of us riding. On the ride that I've started this thing with, there were 49 bikes on this ride. This was supposed to be the 50 bike ride. I have the video of the whole ride. I'll try to condense some of it down because some of the people that we're still in touch with, there's the Suzuki right there. There's my GS in the back. And so, but again, it's like looking at things that are gone but not forgotten. Pictures you have of yourself and your friends when they were younger. Alex, who unfortunately lost touch with. I know Luciano and Alex were good friends for many years. And so this is, to me, a nostalgia trip. It's wonderful that I see, as an example, the GS at the time had the seat that I made, that cafe seat or whatever you want to call it. And I'm looking at, there's the bike, there's the GS right there. And a lot of the people all age brackets, no special, not all young kids, not all crazy riders. A couple of guys that like to do wheelies from time to time, and a couple of guys that we actually have the video of them driving off into the ditch. And that's not a clear picture, but that is the real Suzuki. It's still out in my garage. And
you feel like you belong to the Hells Angels or
there's
something?
there's other people, and I just recognize their face. The unfortunate thing is we don't see them. A lot of them live in New York City area, and there's the bike right there. It's a bike we're restoring. And I remember some of the one of the guys that had a Suzuki on one of the rides, not this one, crashed right at the front of the pack, and it kind of took the edge off everybody's day. But Ray used to always plan out a lunch at one of the little places, and I do remember Chris. Her nickname used to be Legs. That's how much I know about Chris, believe me. Chris is not going to be happy when she sees this video, I know. Anyway, we really did have a wonderful time. I'm not going to belabor this. I'm putting about 9 minutes of video on the end of this video. But what's good about this is, as time permits, and we're really running short on time because of my personal life. There's Dwayne's bike. That's Dwayne's bike right there. And what I'll try to do is take out some excerpts from time to time. Anytime I do have the time. But I have to thank John Pathia for helping me convert this over. This was on discs that were all scratched up and bent and made noise when you put them into the CD converter, and he worked with me many, many hours to recover this footage. We got a lot of it. I got some footage of repairing Ray Straub's muffler that cracked in half with carbon fiber. I'm not sure what else we have on. There's some of the RD restoration. But it's all very nostalgic. And it's nostalgic to the people that were part of the New Jersey Sport Bike Club. I'm sure it's nostalgic to Chris, to Dwayne, and to Ray if he ever gets to see it from the Sport Bike Club. And I want to thank Ray, personal thanks, since I have lost touch with him. He invited us to his house in the Upper Saddle River many times. Hey, there's the bike we're working on right now. How do you make this stuff up? And there's the Suzuki. How could you make this stuff up? Immortalized. It's immortalized like the sinking of the Titanic. Anyway, I know the people that watch the videos now maybe don't even go back 10 years into this area of our video. But you do remember I started shooting video of model planes and personal things in 1987 when nobody even had a DVD player. So we were using VHS tapes. But I hope you enjoyed this. Share it with your friends or any of the other New Jersey Sport Mike members you might have touched with. And thanks for watching.